In this video I will be explaining the death of KTS/Cutthroat Vaughn from Lakeside/EBC, who most of you probably know from the song Kill to Survive and his various antics in the streets of the east side of Chicago. KTS Vaughn was known as a shooter and killer, and for a long time thought to be the top killer from the KTS alliance, which is made up of Lakeside, Pockettown and EBC. KTS stands for Kill to Survive, which is also the title of KTS Vaughn's most popular song on YouTube with over 7 million views. Vaughn was rumored to have up to 8 bodies depending on who you asked, and many videos on the internet claim him to be one of the top killers from the east side. Most of those bodies have been debunked as not being his, notably Rock and Alamo, who were shot and killed in February 2012 outside of a store during a mass shooting in which 6 others were wounded. The shooters responsible are B.D. Ritchie and Mac Main from Lakeside. KTS Vaughn's rumored bodies were Gotti, 8x13, Rock, NLMB, Alamo, Terrortown/NLMM/NLMB, Big Los, NLMB, Pharaoh, Circuit City, and Kobe, NLMB. Like I stated earlier, Rock and Alamo were not Vaughn's work. The killer of Big Los was arrested in 2016, snitched on himself but was released because of a lack of a murder weapon, before being shot and killed on November 29, 2016. His name was Adonis Johnson and he was a 4CH. On top of that, FOIA documents recently proved that Black Mob killed Kobe, NLMB, and that his killers were Shootashells and AWOL. Gotti and Pharaoh have not been proven to not be Vaughn's work, and he likely was the killer in both murders. He dissed Pharaoh and referred to him as fried face a lot on social media and in songs, as well as dissing Gotti and GHerbo all the time. Other random bodies were also pinned on Vaughn, including NLMB members that he had nothing to do with. So KTS Vaughn only has 2 confirmed bodies, but as you all probably know, a body doesn't have to be a rival gang member, so none of us really know how many Vaughn had. But he definitely did not have 7 or 8 bodies like some have claimed. But back to the main topic of the video, who killed Vaughn. Very quickly after Vaughn's death, Mad Maxx/C-Money from NLMB, a close friend of rapper GHerbo, began to diss Vaughn relentlessly on Instagram and Twitter. This led some to believe that Maxx was Vaughn's killer, and internet detectives quickly came up with a story for how Vaughn died. On June 23, 2015, just after 2 p.m., KTS Vaughn was walking in the 7500 block of South Ellis Street when a car pulled up and multiple shooters opened fire. Vaughn was shot at least 25 times and was pronounced dead less than an hour later. The alleged shooters were Mad Maxx and Crazy James from NLMB, with some theorizing that Main Ski could have been one of the shooters. Some even went as far as to say that GHerbo was in the car, or possibly Pharaoh. For years and years people believed this theory, crediting Mad Maxx for the body. However, in recent years we have seen an increase in internet users requesting information from CPD in the form of FOIA documents relating to murders, shootings, and even jail footage of fights. In this case, a Reddit user requested the police report for the murder of KTS Vaughn. What they received was shocking. CPD believes that Vaughn was killed due to an internal conflict within the EBC gang. Lakeside and Pockettown formed the KTS alliance, with certain members from E-Block and EBC claiming KTS as well. The police alleged that older members from EBC were mad that KTS Vaughn and other KTS members were claiming KTS and drawing members away from EBC. Allegedly, an EBC member or multiple EBC members shot and killed Vaughn due to the internal struggles and because of the fact that Vaughn had shot an EBC member in the weeks before his death. I will put the full paragraph if you want to read it here. So allegedly what happened is that older vice lords were angry that KTS Vaughn and other members were branching out and forming a new set. They blamed him, his friends and his family, including his brother KTS Dre, who most of you know, his other brother Vinny Jr. and his dad Vinny Sr. This beef turned bloody when KTS Vaughn shot an EBC member in the face sometime in early mid-2015. It then got even more serious when Vaughn was shot and killed by EBC. So Vaughn was shot and killed on June 23, 2015 by unknown EBC members, and then about a year later on June 5, 2016 KTS Uchi was killed, allegedly by KTS members as revenge for KTS Vaughn's death. Soon after, on July 25, 2016 Vinny Sr., Vaughn's dad, was shot and killed by EBC. Most likely due to him picking his sons Vinny Jr. and Vaughn over Vice Lord leaders. He was killed in Kuwait City territory a few blocks west of O Block, adding another level of confusion to this whole story. In an act of revenge, KTS members shot and killed a younger EBC member who had sided with the older Vice Lords over them. His name was DeLance Price and he was shot and killed on August 5, 2016, he was 16 years old. He went by DP and was also shot and killed in Kuwait City territory, only a block away from where Vinny Sr. died. After his death the civil war between KTS and EBC seemed to slow down and no confirmed bodies have dropped between the two alliances since. So this leaves the score tied at 2-2, with KTS Vaughn and Vinny Sr. being killed by EBC and KTS Uchi and DP from EBC being killed by the KTS alliance. The possible killers of DP are Killa Spook, KTS Dre, KTS Rio, Lord, Cutthroat Prince or K-Dog. Any of these members of possibly multiple of them could be DP's killer, while KTS Uchi was likely killed by either Vinny Sr. or KTS Dre. I will also note that it is rumored Lil Savage from Lakeside was killed as a result of this beef. But that is unconfirmed. He was shot and killed on September 6, 2017. He was only 14. Lil Savage may have been killed by EBC members as revenge for DP's death the previous year. Another rumor is that Lil Savage was killed by NLMB, which is also unconfirmed. There is also another rumor regarding this war that I will address. Some have theorized that Didi from Lakeside, who was shot and killed on June 30, 2018, was shot and killed by KTS members as a result of this internal conflict. This is unconfirmed, but if we take Lil Savage and Didi's deaths into account, that puts the score at 3-3 between KTS and EBC. This beef, however, is very complicated and not much is known about it to us outsiders, so take this all with a grain of salt. But this still leaves the question, who actually killed KTS Vaughn? Many names have been mentioned, most of them NLMB members, such as Mad Maxx, Choppa and Mally. We know NLMB did not kill him and that it was an EBC member or at least a Pocket Town or Lakeside member who sided with the Vice Lords over the gangster disciples. EBC Rasta is currently locked up for KTS Vaughn's dad, Vinny Sr., murder and an attempted murder for shooting the woman who was with Vinny when he died. By rule of the streets, if your friend, brother, cousin, father etc. is killed by a rival gang or someone you are beefing with, you get revenge by killing someone from that set, if possible the actual killer or even just someone who was there when your friend or brother or cousin or son were killed. If you can't get the killer, or the driver or anyone who participated in the murder, you might try to kill family members, such as brothers or cousins, of the person who killed your friend. By that logic, we can assume that either Rasta from EBC or KTS Uchi or both of them were involved in KTS Vaughn's murder. This makes sense because Uchi was likely killed by Vaughn's dad Vinny Sr. or KTS Dre, or both of them together possibly with other KTS members. The members who were allegedly present on the hit were Rasta, Uchi, Nick Vega, Cutthroat General and Michi. All from EBC/KTS who sided with the Vice Lords over the gangster disciples in Lakeside and Pocket Town. Though some of them are still cool with certain Pocket Town and Lakeside members. Despite knowing who was on the hit, we don't know exactly who the shooter or shooters were. I believe because Vaughn was shot so many times that there were at least 2 shooters, maybe even 3 or 4, with a getaway driver as well, meaning most likely 4 to 6 people were on this hit. The reason Vaughn was caught lacking the way he was, might be because he recognized the people, or at least some of them, in the car, and that's why he didn't run or shoot at them. He also most likely did not have a gun on him at the time of his death. As the old story that most of you have probably heard says, Vaughn allegedly was high or drunk or both at the time of his death, and that's why he was caught lacking. That was proven false by the toxicology report performed on his body after his death. However, these are sometimes inaccurate and do not test for all types of drugs or sometimes aren't performed quickly enough. For example, you could take one hit off a blunt at midnight, die at 6 a.m. and they could do a toxicology report on your body 3 days later and not find any weed in your system. But who knows, maybe he was high or drunk or maybe he was completely sober. So where are these members now? KTS Uchi died in 2016, his brother Rasta is locked up for the murder of Vinny Sr. Michi's location is unknown but he is still alive. Nick Vega and Cutthroat General are rappers who are actually very underrated and are both free at the time of me making this video. While they may have carried out the murder, the exact people who ordered the killing are unknown at this time, but are said to be Vice Lord leaders from EBC. So this concludes my video on the tour story of KTS Vaughn's death. Thank you for watching, and please let me know who you want to see me make a video on next. As always, rest in peace to all the deceased mentioned in this video.